Hello. Take two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
We are testing some things out. So,
Yeah, testing some new streaming services. So let us know if you can hear us all right, if everything's good. Logan's looking at LinkedIn. It's telling us that we're streaming in too high of quality on LinkedIn. But it's pretty cool. This new service, it allows us to stream on like Facebook, YouTube, all this stuff all at the same time, because we used to have to stream it on Facebook, go live with you guys, and then download it and then upload it to YouTube. It's a lot of work. So we're trying something new.
yeah.
We sound really good. Thanks. We also have like individual mics now. Logan's got the setup for us.
Yeah, we're trying to make it a little bit better for you guys, even though there's a lot of testing.
A lot of
going on
testing.
right now.
Yeah, random go live
Good
for a couple
morning,
seconds.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you saw that short little clip, that was a whoops. Because before you could like hit live, but it wouldn't really go live until you hit it again. And now it just goes live.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Good morning. So if you haven't filled out your March Madness brackets there's a link on Facebook. I think you got an email too. Today is the last day to do that. And once the bracket closes, you'll only be able to vote. So voting starts tomorrow for your favorite flavors. And I think there's 4 or 5 rounds, and it will just fill out each, section of the bracket. So go ahead and get that done. And if your bracket gets the most points, which there's actually a rank and a point, so as we go through the voting rounds, you'll be able to know where you're ranking at. Whoever wins is going to win a super awesome prize that is yet to be determined, but we promise it's going to be really cool. Yeah. And
I'm
then
excited to see who the winner is. I'm excited to see who the winner is.
Well, and then we can pull other people who maybe your bracket didn't do the best, but you still pick like the winning flavor, and we'll do prizes there too. Good morning, Jennifer. Go Logan. You sound very clear.
It just says Facebook user.
They
It
must
doesn't
be
say
like
the name.
on privacy or something. I don't know. Who are you, Facebook user, that says you sound very clear?
That's weird.
So on top of that, today is our Women's Day sale. So go check that out. I think it's like 25% through the 10th, and it's International Women's Day. So we're just celebrating being women-owned and run, and that's kind of cool. But what we're really talking about today is coffee sourcing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Brett and Logan do all of the coffee sourcing for us at the company. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys and explain a little bit more about how we do that.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it to Brett. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have, to be fair.
Yep.
I just really check the quality and everything of the coffee and make sure it's good when it comes in. But he orders it and does all the other stuff.
Yeah. So Logan does make sure that the coffee that we're choosing, that he's offering up for me to choose, is quality that we accept.
Well, because we get books. We get books of thousands of types of coffee from all different countries all over the world, and then from there we have to narrow it down.
Yeah, and that's like we were talking about earlier, and it's these books, and it's like we have all these different coffees, but it's like there might only be 30 or 40 bags available for the whole year. Yeah. And it's like, well, we go through easily over 1 million pounds every year, so 30 to 40 bags, like 150-pound bags, that's not going to last us very long, and so we kind of got to source product that we can get quantities of.
And not only quantities of, that's like the top tier, right?
Yeah, specialty grade, so obviously there's a grading scale for coffee, and we will only take, I don't know if they've changed it recently, but it was grade A before. I think it's still the same. Is that still the grading scale?
The grading scale.
Well, it depends on the country and everything else, but so there's size grading, and then like in Kenya, they grade it with a letter that determines the size. It's all based on size, essentially.
Yeah, so we have to get the right grading. We have to make sure they have enough. And then every country, as we've talked about before, just based on their soil or how the coffee's grown, is going to have a different taste profile. So we have to make sure that what we're buying matches the taste profile that we're looking for.
Yep.
So it's not like we always just use Brazilian coffee if a Brazilian coffee doesn't taste right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing with a living organism that we're using is there is going to be some small differences or possibilities for small differences just because it was grown at a different time of year or something, or grown
or a
different
area
of Brazil, or
thousands of variables that contribute to it.
Sure. And then we have to be careful too, because coffee is a commodity. So kind of like anything else, the market goes up and down based on supply and demand. And so if a country has a freeze or a bug infestation or anything crazy, we have to be watching very carefully to make sure that we can still get the crop that we need.
Yeah, so currently Hawaii had went through a bug infestation in the Kona region. So it got a little scarce for a little bit, but we were able to keep our stock up. Luckily for us, barely.
It went
season got a little
on
tight.
and offline a couple times.
Season got a little tight on us.
It's like, I don't know, can we get a bag?
I think the last report is that has turned around significantly, that situation, so that's good. You always got to watch the frost and the possible droughts in Brazil, with Brazil being roughly 75% of the production of commercial coffee in the world, so they kind of dictate where everything's going to be for the year. And if they have a slow year, we kind of have to make sure that we stock up early, so that way we just have it available is the thing. So we have to buy contracts of it like a normal trader from a trading company, and there's not actually that many companies that we can go through to buy the contracts. So it gets a little interesting, but so we got to play. Harvest season is usually towards the end of the year, around the winter, with most of it being grown in the southern hemisphere. So the harvest season's right around our winter time.
How far out do we buy contracts for?
So we try not to go out too far, just because you want to make sure that you can still get the current crop.
So it's like 6 months?
Yeah, no, usually, yes, 9 months. I try not to go out over a year unless we buy futures. So then there's contracts and there's futures. Now we're getting into some, a little bit more like detail stuff. So those are not actually specific to coffee. Those are just you are able to buy something at a price.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have those, so that way it's like we have the ability to get coffee when it's available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I mean, coffee they're selling it from the time they're planting it, basically planning on a harvest.
Yes, exactly.
And then the harvest takes months. I mean, it can take 6 to 8 months to get to New York from the time it starts growing.
Oh yeah, from the time it starts growing. Yeah. So most of the product, I would say,
the comments? Do you have to scroll down to see comments?
Starts picking in September, October, and a lot of it's not coming until January, February, March, and that's when it starts getting picked in September, October. Yeah.
So it takes significant planning to make sure that we have beans in the building that are from the crop that we selected and that we want.
Yeah, and it's actually a really cool process.
Yeah.
The process of from seed to cup is just a really cool process.
It's fascinating. Yeah. Oh, go March Madness. Okay. And the Restream chat thing, it's supposed to pull all the comments in, and we felt like we were missing a comment. So Logan's clicking around trying to figure out what comment we were missing. Right? No, but I mean, coffee sourcing is fascinating. And then we don't really work directly with farms. We go through a broker.
Yep.
And part of that is just the shipping and customs logistics. Honestly, that's what most of it is.
Yeah. So, we have the ability to send someone to the farms if we choose.
Well, we've been to the La Manita farm. Yep. We can go to the farms, but it's still the buying of coffee is easier. Through a broker.
Yeah, and then they test it, they cup it, and then they give us the notes on it, so we know what their notes are, what the tastes are of it, and how their opinion of it, which is always nice.
Well, and then we can get samples for cupping, and then we test it when it comes in, when it actually arrives at the building, to make sure it is what we ordered.
Yeah, it's like a science experiment too.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and hopefully in the future we do get to a point where we're going to visit the farms, but I know I don't have time for that.
So. Oh no, Jennifer,
love to do that.
The decisions in the March Madness bracket can be hard. I'm not gonna lie. Branson felt the same way filling it out. He's like, but I want this one to win, but I like this one. I'm like, I don't know.
That's why it's super interesting, because then you go think, what is my favorite flavor? And then I want to say, oh, it's blueberry or Michigan cherry, but then it's like, oh, but I like caramel vanilla latte, and I like
Well, and I did it in alphabetical order, and then I didn't realize that's how it would match up against each other. But I'm like, there's no fair way to do it.
No
fair way.
No, it's not like they got ranked.
Right. Exactly. Maybe next year we can rank them kind of like based off the rank this year.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
So we should have taken a vote beforehand to give them rank
to give them rank levels. Well, that's what we're gonna do through the voting. So then next year we can do that from the rankings of this year.
Yeah.
Year one, we're learning.
Yeah.
It was difficult though.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm dying right now. I know. Just wait till voting starts. Then it's gonna be even more tough.
Has it not started? Oh no.
No, the brackets. They have until tonight at midnight to fill out their brackets, and then the bracket will close, so you won't be entered in the contest. You can still vote.
I better go do that.
Yeah, you better go do that.
Yeah.
Get your bracket filled out. So back
to goes to see who
to see how it goes down the bracket. Yeah.
Love it.
Yep. So I know we talked a lot about how we source the coffee.
Yep.
Where do we source our coffee from? What countries do we use?
I mean,
pretty much all of them.
So there's quite a few countries that we use. Our biggest quantities are probably going to be from the countries of Brazil, Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia, Vietnam. Yeah, a lot of Central and South American, but we do have some African and Asian countries. We get some Kenyan coffee from Kenya, from Ethiopia. Actually, where's the Sumatra from? Indonesia. Yep. Okay.
Well, then you've got Hawaii.
Yep.
Obviously,
Hawaii.
that's where
and then
Kona, Jamaica. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the Jamaican comes in these cool barrels.
Oh yeah, awesome barrels.
Yeah. So all the other coffee comes in just like the canvas, right? It's called burlap. There you go.
Sacks.
The burlap sacks, and they're 150 pounds in a burlap sack. Like I can barely nudge these things. They're so heavy. Yep. Who was it? They were unloading the coffee truck, and one of the bags was like falling off the front, and I was walking by, and they're like, "Hey, can you push that back on?" I was like, maybe. I don't know. No. I did it.
Oh, did you? That's what Mom and Patty tried to help us one day, and they realized that they can't do that.
No, they're super heavy.
No, our team does an amazing job getting those beans off that truck. It's not an easy task, and
well, the bean. So when you order like container loads of stuff, especially when it's coming from other countries, it's typically floor loaded.
Yeah.
So, when you see all those videos of fork trucks pulling up to trucks and they're pulling off pallets, no, it's straight on the floor. Yep. So you have to pick it up and put it onto pallets.
Yep.
That's how our coffee comes every week. That is how...
there's roughly about 300 bags in each
truck. All our
truck.
gift set packaging comes floor loaded. A lot of times, like when we order mugs, they come floor loaded.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and it's just so that they can maximize the container space. So I get it.
Yep. Yeah.
But
with coffee, if you get it floor loaded, you can just get more in it too.
More in the truck.
It's quite a few more bags you can get on the truck, and that's what's big for us because it keeps
fewer trucks moving in and out, and we get about a truck a week.
Almost. Yeah. I would say we probably get anywhere between 45 to 50 a year, so almost a truck a week. Yeah.
Okay, and how many bags come on the truck?
300.
300.
Yeah, it's a lot. 300 bags.
My.
I mean, give or take a few bags depending on the weight, because there's actually a weight limit, not a bag limit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They can't do more than...
if there wasn't a weight limit, we could probably get 1,000 bags of coffee on a truck.
Because they're stacked 3 high only, right?
But
4 or 5.
Lifting that high would be so dangerous. It'd be so dangerous.
Yes. They have cool equipment that you can get, but it's still manually operated kind of equipment.
Oh, sure.
There you got
well, probably kind of what D uses for the roaster, where he hooks it up and then it kind of brings it over and assists him in moving it.
The only real solution is getting silos and an open truck where all the bags are cut open somehow.
It's super
already.
sack.
Oh,
Super
yeah.
sacks.
They're 2,000-pound bags.
I don't think we're that big yet.
No.
Not yet. But it's cool. I mean, I didn't realize that coffee was almost traded like it was part of the stock market.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I just thought you could
what
contact a manufacturer and buy it.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know. It is a little different. Yeah, we can't just, I mean, there is companies that you can just go buy green coffee from, but that doesn't work. It's not,
Sure.
But they're doing the same thing that we're doing to get it to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like, what was that movie with Dan Aykroyd where they're selling oranges, trading spaces. They're selling oranges, and that was when you realized everything's traded on the market like a commodity.
Yeah.
Like a stock.
I had no clue. And coffee is the second largest legally traded commodity behind oil.
Yeah, it's legal in some states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they add legally into the definition. I'm going to claim innocence here. So, yeah, that's super cool. Anything to add about sourcing coffee? Do you guys have any questions about sourcing coffee? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of just interesting the way we get it, because we're in a position where we can buy it like we do, like we buy futures and other things, but a lot of the smaller companies have to buy it from a company that buys futures, and then they have to buy it in like one bag amounts. So
yeah,
it's kind of different than most of the coffee places, how we get it and how we manage coffee.
Because they probably don't want a 150-pound bag. Like the smaller roasters don't want 150
No,
pounds.
they can't go through the coffee like we.
How many bags can we fit in our roaster?
We can fit 4 bags.
Okay. 4
we
bags.
only roast 3 bags at a time though.
Why?
Just roast better.
It's just
Faster.
control,
Yeah.
more control.
More
Okay.
control
Good morning,
over it.
Charles. Thanks, Bill. I wish you had questions, though. I want to make sure we're answering all your questions. Because, I mean, I think it's just a fascinating process. So you put a coffee order in, right?
Yep.
And you say, I need these kinds of coffee because you're looking at the orders. You know what you need to make. And then it goes to you.
Yep.
And you make sure that we have the futures.
The contracts
the
already
contracts.
contracted. Yep.
So it's your job to manage the contracts and be looking at the market and buy when it's low, right?
Yep.
So what happens if we forecasted that we needed this much Brazil coffee and then you're like, whoa, we don't need that much Brazil coffee?
Oh, that leads into what Bill just asked. Do you ever
that's
have
really
to return
funny.
coffee?
That's exactly what I'm asking. How does that work?
Okay, so we contract the coffee. So each coffee contract is for 37,500 pounds of whatever types of coffee. So I can mix and match the types of coffee for a contract. And usually you have a pickup month.
Okay.
So like this coffee will be available in, let's say, April of 2023. So that's when I can start picking it up.
Okay.
If we don't take it all by the end of the pickup month, they just charge a small interest fee for storage because the coffee is stored in a climate controlled warehouse at the port.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they charge an interest charge for storage or whatever, but then say it's like, no, this is still way too much. Can we like release contracts or sell back contracts?
We can sell back contracts. So we actually have done that before. Obviously, in 2020, there was a huge downturn in business.
Yeah.
And we did actually have to sell back some contracts. We were actually able to not have to like lose money or anything on it.
Okay, because you sell them back for the current market value.
Yes.
Which isn't always advantageous.
Which isn't always advantageous. Yeah, whatever we have it contracted at is our price, and we can sell it. Well, actually, our broker sells it for us. We cannot sell the contract legally. Yeah, but the broker sells it for us. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we're able to do that because there's always people that are looking for extra contracts of coffee, it seems like.
Well, didn't we just have a problem? Was it Jamaican? And they're like, or it was Kona, wasn't it? And they're like, this is all we have. If you want it, you better get an order in now.
Yep. And then there's been times too where they'll call us and they'll be like, hey, like how quick do you think you're gonna go through this? And so we'll talk about it, and they'll be like, because I need like 50 bags to give to a client, but I'll replace them with fresher stuff as soon as it comes in this month. And then I'll look at it, and you know, it's actually, it's nice to have that trading partnership. We've been with them since long before I hired in.
Right.
I think we've been working with the same person for over 20 years.
Well, and that's another benefit of using a broker too, is if we get in a pinch and need something, they can go to another client and be like, hey, they really need this, but I'll get you something.
And so it's really interesting, and it's been a good for us. So
yeah, it has been. We've worked with them as long as I know. Aren't they the ones that send the really cool Christmas gift too every year?
Yep, every year.
So they send, it's always like a tech gift of some sort, but there's a letter that comes with it. Yep. And the letter is Brett's favorite part of the gift.
Yeah, I don't even want the gift. I want the letter, because the letter is from the founder, and he talks about a prediction for the next year for the coffee, and then he also goes through his last year's prediction to see how close he was and gives his insights, and that's the most interesting thing, to be able to get the insights from someone who's been in the business for 40, 50 years. Just to be able to get his insights on a yearly basis is
he usually pretty close?
Honestly, he's really close most of the time.
So that's
why I
super
like it so much, because the first few years I was like, man, he was really close. Like, he's right on. I was like, oh, I love this letter. Yeah. So it gets us, kind of gets me thinking about our next year too.
Sure.
Because obviously we have the type of business where in the winter we do a lot more business than we do during certain times of the year. So we always have to make sure that we're ready for that, and we have the coffee available and in the building, and so that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's cool. So I know we use a broker for like all the normal coffee. How do we get the decaf coffee here? Because I know it's decaffeinated in Canada.
Yes. So we still get that through the broker, but that is a much longer process.
Okay.
So because the coffee comes in obviously not decaffeinated.
Right. Yeah.
Right? There's caffeine in coffee. So whenever we get close, I talk with the broker, and then we contract it, and he has to send the whole lot to the Swiss Water Process Company in, I believe it's Vancouver. And then they go through their decaffeination process, and then it sends back. And that takes about 3 months.
Does it go back to the broker or directly to us?
No, it goes back to the broker, and then so that way we don't have to take all 300 bags of it in at once.
I wondered, because I didn't feel like we were getting different trucks for decaf.
Nope. It goes back to the warehouse where the climate-controlled warehouse where our coffee's stored at, and then we can order it when we need it.
Cool. I think it's funny how, I've worked here for over 10 years. Been involved in the business my entire life.
Yeah, right.
And I still have so many questions about what's going on. I'm like, I've just never been that involved in the sourcing process. Like, you hear tidbits, right? And you kind of see stuff, but until you do it.
Yeah, coffee's kind of cool too. I like the warehouses, how like all the brokers kind of put all their stuff together in a warehouse. That way when we do need to trade things or get a different coffee, or like that didn't meet our quality, so needs to stay back, and we'll sell the contracts to someone else. Like, it's all in the same warehouses, so they always pick up from the same place.
And these have to be like very temperature controlled warehouses and moisture controlled warehouses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because coffee has to sit at a certain moisture content or it will mold. And we've had that happen.
Or get too dry, and then it like almost has no flavor.
Yeah, I kind of think of it as, when you dehydrate fruit, and if you dehydrate it too much, right, it's gross. And if you don't dehydrate it enough, it's gross. So it's kind of the coffee bean has to stay in that range, or it will, well, first of all, it can mold. Yeah. And we have gotten a pallet in, and it's like, whoa, this smells like mold. You got to take it back. Something happened.
Yep.
Or situations where actually a truck pulled up to the broker, and the truckers are, third-party contractors, and the truck smelled bad. And they wouldn't put the coffee on the truck.
No,
which great, because we don't want the coffee on the truck.
It is like a sponge almost, kind of. It does absorb. Yeah. It does absorb other scents and things. So.
Yep. So we have to take great care for the coffee, even in transit, while it's, sitting at their warehouse waiting for us to get it.
Yep.
There's a lot of factors that go into it. Pretty crazy.
Yep.
So what kind of moisture content does coffee need to sit at?
We like it to be in between 11 and 13%. It can get as low as 9, and it's still
And our coffee scientist knows how to test it to make sure that we're in the right. Yeah. Logan over here tests it all.
But when it gets under 9, like it just means it's old. So it's been sitting in the warehouse for a couple years.
Yeah.
It's a past crop, and they'll like try and sell it for cheaper.
Yep.
Well, and we do moisture content tests just to make sure that nothing got mixed up in the warehouse, or we didn't get a batch we weren't expecting to get.
Yeah.
At least the bags are labeled very well most of the time. Every once in a while, it is a burlap sack, so it'll rip open and they'll have to rebag it at the warehouse or something, so then you get a different bag. But they're marked with the year that the crop is, what country it's from, obviously.
Usually
and then they all
a
have
beautiful graphic. Usually there's beautiful artwork on the bags.
The ones that come from the Costa Rica farm that we get direct. No, those ones we get direct from the farm.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, so those ones we get direct from the farm. Yep.
Yeah, we work with the co-op for those.
Yep. So we talk with them right directly there, and their bags come with some nice artwork.
And that's the La Manita farm.
Yes, the La Manita one has like a nice like coffee like branch on it with the cherries and the berries on it and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, we tried to, at one point we listed the burlap bags for sale because we have so many burlap bags. Like if you're local and you need burlap bags.
Yeah, for gardening, whatever.
For anything.
Come on,
we seriously have tons of them all the time.
We used to donate them to Salvation Army and they stopped taking them.
I think there was too many. I don't think they could take anymore.
We were giving them pallets of them.
Yeah. So we tried to ship them, but honestly, they are kind of big. Like you could only fit a couple in the box and they're
big
so
and heavy.
Dirty. Like burlap bags just make you so messy. But I use them in my garden. I use them as a weed barrier, and then they kind of break down over time, so then you don't get that weird black plasticky stuff.
I know my neighbor asked for some too, because when it gets towards winter, if you put them over like her rose bushes and stuff,
they're good for like if you wanna like plant a tree or something. They're good for like starting it in there, because then you can put the burlap sack in the ground with it, and it'll just and you don't have to worry about it, and then the tree can grow.
Yeah, so if you're local or ever up in the area and need some burlap sacks, just know that it's gonna make your car a mess.
Yeah. But we have them. Lots of them.
Lots of them.
Some
so
with
many.
cool pictures and.
I wish we had a good use. If anybody has a good idea or a good use, let us know. I mean, we go through 300 a week.
Yeah, my dad has tried for 10 plus years to find a good use for them.
Yeah. Besides getting them, putting a nice one up on a wall somewhere.
Right.
It looks nice. I mean, yeah. Gardening is all I can think of.
And I mean, we can't guarantee that you're going to get pretty ones. That's the other problem, right? And they are cut on one side.
Yep.
For the beans.
So we could,
Yeah. But so if you have a good solution for burlap sacks, let us know.
Love suggestions.
Yeah. Any other things that go into sourcing you think are? I know you guys are like the experts, so I feel like it's hard for you to break it down. I know how that happens where you're like, I don't even know what people don't know.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I just I think I've said, the process is just crazy how much goes into our morning cup of coffee.
It is.
Right? It is crazy.
I mean, it's over a year of work.
Yeah. Someone picking the beans and.
Well, growing the tree takes 3 to 5 years.
And then picking the
beans.
Yep, the fruit, and then drying it.
Yeah, sorting them, drying them, bagging them, getting them here. And then
them for quality so they can be sorted into the correct batches. And
and then we have to roast it and not mess it up. And then you have to brew it and not mess it up.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy.
A lot of work, and what you get a pound of coffee a tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
coffee.
The whole tree.
And so in some of the specialty grade coffees that are going to be your higher graded stuff are grown at high altitudes.
Yeah.
So like the coffee in Jamaica, the Blue Mountain we get is literally grown on the side of a mountain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're not taking machines up there and machine picking them.
No, they're lifting people up on ropes.
Yep, exactly. So it's a little it's a little, I don't know, it's a little crazy to think about.
Any of our coffee machine picked?
Brazil maybe, but we buy such a high quality. I don't know if it really is.
I don't. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
100%
it's more
sure.
commodity grade.
Yeah.
Stuff that's done like that, because it's still higher elevation than the commodity.
Yeah.
Because of the quality we buy.
Right, and that's like more Robusta coffee. I know there's some really nice Robustas.
Most of our coffees are going to be in between 1,200 and 1,500. I'm pretty sure they did meters on our contracts is what we see. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then some of them are a little bit higher elevation, but those are going to be your real specialty.
So when you source coffee, that you literally are sourcing, I want stuff grown between this and this elevation.
Well, they let us know. It says on the contract, right?
Oh, okay.
Like where it's at, and I get to pick. Yeah, we get to pick contract. We get to pick the lot. So yeah, we get to choose. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, if you really wanted, you could fly over there when they're picking and go through all of the farms. We could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah,
See
and
the
then be like
specific
that, like lot number 97043. We want that lot. We want 900 bags of that lot, and they will put them aside for us. We could do that. That would be obviously Logan's dream. He's been talking about it for years.
and I will say, when we were a newer company working with this broker, I believe we used to do a lot more of that, but they know what we like. Yep. They know what we're expecting.
Exactly.
They know
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
we've worked with them for so long, it's like I don't really get offered contracts that are out of what we normally would expect.
Yeah.
So if we want something different, we can ask always, right?
Right. And go test it out and go check it out. But, I mean, he's got such a good handle on what we are looking for.
Yep.
That we don't have to quality check him that hard usually.
And it's like the same farms too, you know, we're like we bought stuff from the same farms, so they know to expect like the quantity that we need and whatever. Brokers, he's bought from the same places.
Yeah. Yeah, they've cultivated great relationships with the farms and the warehouses pretty much, and we get to piggyback off that, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is cool. All right. Well, I hope you guys thought that was interesting. Let us know if you have any questions, suggestions, want to hear more. Don't forget to fill out your brackets.
Yeah.
And also, there's a sale today. So enjoy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.